As 2026 begins, the global music industry finds itself asking a familiar yet increasingly complex question. What role will Jungkook play in BTS's next chapter? Even without new solo releases at the start of the year, Jungkook's presence remains undeniable. His previous works continue to dominate streaming platforms, his name frequently trends across social media, and his influence shows no signs of slowing down. This sustained visibility has reignited a growing conversation, one rooted not in rumor, but in observable reality. Fans and industry observers alike are speculating that Jungkook's continued solo success may naturally translate into a larger creative role within BTS's upcoming projects. Importantly, no official confirmation has been made, yet the question persists, shaped by data, history, and the unmistakable evolution of Jungkook as an artist. In the fast-moving world of pop music, longevity is rare. Hits often peak and fade within weeks, yet Jungkook's solo catalog has demonstrated an unusual level of endurance. Entering 2026, his songs continue to attract millions of daily streams. New listeners discover his work months and, in some cases, years after initial release. This pattern has drawn attention from analysts who view longevity as a stronger indicator of influence than debut week numbers. Jungkook's solo success is no longer framed as a moment. It is viewed as a sustained presence, and sustained presence often leads to expanded influence. Historically, Jungkook was celebrated primarily as a performer, praised for his vocals, dance precision, and stage charisma. Over time, however, his artistic profile has broadened. Through solo projects, Jungkook has demonstrated a clear understanding of melody construction, emotional pacing, and global pop sensibilities. These qualities have prompted fans to reconsider his potential role behind the scenes. Could Jungkook's experience now extend beyond performance into creative direction, vocal arrangement input, or conceptual shaping? While no official statements confirm such involvement, the question itself reflects how perceptions of Jungkook have changed. In online communities, fans are careful with their language. Discussions often begin with phrases like, "some fans believe," or "many are wondering if," a reflection of a community aware of the difference between speculation and fact. Fans point to Jungkook's growth, global exposure, and artistic confidence as reasons to believe his voice may carry more weight in future BTS projects. What makes these discussions notable is their tone. Rather than demanding change, fans express curiosity. They view Jungkook's evolution as something that could naturally enhance BTS's creative ecosystem. Outside fan circles, music industry observers have begun to examine Jungkook's trajectory through a broader lens. Artists who achieve solo success often return to group settings with a refined understanding of their strengths. This does not necessarily alter group hierarchy, but it can influence collaborative dynamics. Analysts note that Jungkook's exposure to global production standards and international audiences may offer valuable insights as BTS prepares to re-enter an increasingly competitive market. Once again, these observations stop short of prediction. They remain grounded in patterns observed across the industry. One reason this speculation feels credible is BTS's history. The group has consistently evolved by integrating individual growth into collective expression. Each member has been encouraged to explore personal artistry, then bring those experiences back to the group. Within this framework, Jungkook's solo success is not an anomaly. It is a continuation of BTS's philosophy. If Jungkook were to take on a more prominent creative role, it would align with the group's long-standing approach to artistic development, rather than disrupt it. As BTS prepares for its next era, Jungkook's name carries a strategic weight that goes beyond popularity. In global pop culture, certain artists evolve into reference points, figures whose involvement signals quality, relevance, and commercial viability. Jungkook has increasingly become one of those figures. His solo success is frequently cited in discussions about BTS's future, not because it overshadows the group, but because it reinforces its strength. Jungkook represents proof that BTS members can thrive independently while still enhancing the collective brand. This dual capability has elevated his perceived value within group-related discourse. One critical distinction often emphasized by analysts is the difference between creative influence and creative authority. Speculation surrounding Jungkook does not suggest a shift in leadership or hierarchy within BTS. Rather, it points toward influence, subtle, collaborative, and organic. Influence manifests through suggestions, shared perspectives, and creative dialogue. Jungkook's expanded artistic experience may naturally shape conversations during production without altering the group's egalitarian structure. This distinction helps explain why speculation remains largely positive and measured. One undeniable factor shaping these discussions is Jungkook's global audience reach. His solo work has drawn in listeners who may not have previously engaged deeply with BTS's discography. These audiences bring new expectations, new listening habits, and new cultural contexts. Industry observers note that artists with such reach often serve as cultural translators, bridging different markets and sensibilities. If Jungkook contributes creatively to BTS's next project, his understanding of diverse global audiences could be invaluable. Artistic contribution often evolves alongside personal maturity. Jungkook debuted at a young age and grew under intense public scrutiny. By 2026, he is widely regarded as an artist who has navigated that pressure with increasing composure and clarity. This maturity is frequently cited by fans as a reason they believe Jungkook may be ready for deeper creative involvement, not because he must, but because he now can. Such maturity often translates into thoughtful decision-making rather than dominance. Another factor fueling speculation is Jungkook's relative silence in early 2026. In a digital era defined by constant visibility, restraint can itself become a message. Jungkook's limited public commentary has been interpreted by some as intentional, a pause before meaningful collaboration rather than disengagement. This silence has not reduced attention. On the contrary, it has intensified curiosity, suggesting that anticipation may be part of a broader strategic rhythm. BTS's history provides valuable context for understanding current speculation. The group has repeatedly demonstrated an ability to integrate individual artistic growth into group projects without fracturing identity. Solo ventures have historically strengthened rather than diluted BTS's creative core. Jungkook's situation fits neatly into this pattern, reinforcing the idea that his solo success is not separate from BTS's evolution, but intertwined with it. Notably, much of the speculation surrounding Jungkook remains responsible. Fan discussions frequently emphasize respect for official announcements and avoid definitive claims. This restraint reflects a maturing fan culture that understands the impact of misinformation. Rather than insisting on outcomes, fans frame their discussions as possibilities, signals of engagement rather than entitlement. Looking beyond BTS, the industry offers numerous examples of artists who returned to group projects with expanded creative perspectives after solo success. These artists often contribute nuanced insights without formally changing roles. Their experiences inform collaboration organically. Analysts suggest Jungkook's situation mirrors these precedents, strengthening the credibility of current speculation. Returning to a group after solo success involves a psychological shift. For Jungkook, this means reintegrating into a collective identity while retaining personal growth. Observers suggest this balance may actually enhance collaboration, as confidence replaces the need for validation. This psychological stability often leads to clearer creative communication. Within BTS, Jungkook is often described as a connector, someone who bridges energy levels, creative styles, and generational perspectives. This role may become even more significant as the group transitions into a new era shaped by maturity and reflection. Speculation suggests that Jungkook's creative input, if expanded, would likely serve cohesion rather than division. BTS's comeback carries immense commercial stakes. However, analysts emphasize that Jungkook's potential creative involvement would likely be guided by artistic integrity rather than market pressure. His solo career demonstrated an ability to balance accessibility with authenticity. This balance aligns closely with BTS's core philosophy. Unlike many industry cycles, this period has been marked by a lack of leaks or conflicting reports. Official silence suggests careful planning and unified messaging. For Jungkook, this environment allows speculation to remain grounded rather than chaotic. Silence, in this context, functions as stability. One defining characteristic of the current discourse is anticipation without assumptions. Fans are not demanding confirmation of Jungkook's creative role. Instead, they are preparing emotionally for whatever form the group's next project takes. This emotional readiness reflects trust, both in Jungkook and in BTS as a collective. At its core, speculation about Jungkook's creative role reveals more about perception than prediction. It reflects how far Jungkook has come, how much confidence audiences place in his artistic judgment, and how BTS is viewed as a living, evolving entity. Whether or not the speculation proves accurate is almost secondary to what it signifies. As 2026 unfolds, Jungkook stands at the intersection of expectation and possibility. No titles have been assigned, no roles officially expanded, no confirmations issued, yet the conversation itself speaks volumes. Jungkook's continued solo success has reshaped how audiences imagine BTS's future, not through disruption, but through growth. And as BTS prepares to step forward together once again, one thing is clear: the next era will not be defined by labels, but how individual journeys converge into a shared voice.